Good afternoon. Oh, it's not a ghost. It's kids next door. How are we all? Hey, Carol. Hope you're well. This is just me indeed, Carol. It's just me and you. I'm hopefully out on investigation tonight. As you can see, I'm still not 100%, but I feel quite a bit better than what I did yesterday. But because we've not been on very much lately, and I do apologise for that. With so much has happened, family circumstances. Hey, Tina. Health issues, commitments with family, things like that. It's everything seems to have got in the way of it last about 6 to 8 weeks. But it is what it is. We are going to try and get back out again. For some reason, I'm not coming up on Facebook. I don't know what's happening here. I have no idea. Am I live on Facebook or am I just on YouTube? I have no idea. Let me have a look. I don't know. I don't know what's happening. We shall see. But there's nothing's working on Facebook. Give me a minute. Doing my head in. Hi, Diane. Oh, now it's working on Facebook. I don't even know. Notification only just come up on fair. I don't know. It didn't. I tried to go on Facebook and it's shocking. It's doing my head in all this social media stuff. It's not drugs. It's doing my head in. Everything's just going wrong with social media at the minute with different platforms. If one's working, one's not. It's never just normal. But hey ho, what can you do? Not very much. So yeah, I am hoping to be out tonight. I'm going to be out tonight unless it absolutely hammers it down. But according to weather forecast I've got, there's no rain, so might be a lot of sniffling and coughing going off, but apart from that, we'll be okay. So we'll crack on with these. I don't know if you remember a while back, I'd started doing the 10 most haunted places in the UK, and we did 3. I can't remember which 3 we did because I've screwed a bit of paper up that they were on. The last 3. The first 3 we did was Aston Hall in the West Midlands, Pendle Hill in Lancashire, and Margam Country Park in Glamorgan. So today we've got another 3. Another 3. And the first one of those we're going to do today is the Red Lion It's at Manningtree. A place called Manningtree. It's supposed to be extremely haunted. Let me just move that off there, because if I don't... Oh, look. No, I don't want to put it on full screen. Yeah, so the Red Lion is a Grade 2 listed building. Hey, Joyce. And according to the Red Lion's website, the inn is also mentioned in a book of 1647 written by Matthew Hopkins on the scourge of witchcraft. Hey, Claire. Hopkins, a native of Manningtree, was a lawyer known as a witch hunter general. In 1644, he suspected 8 local women of witchcraft. With the aid of local men, John Stern, Hopkins rounded up the women and threw them into Manningtree prison, which used to sit on the land to the right of the pub. The women were eventually taken to Colchester Castle and then on to Chelmsford to stand trial. In 1645, with 20 other women, they were condemned to death and executed. There was a public outcry as evidence against the women was scant. Hey, what up? One of the local women, Elizabeth Clark, was taken screaming and shouting from the Red Lion. Hopkins described her as a drunken sot, although her only apparent crime was that she was in possession of a cat, a polecat, a rabbit, and a crow. Elizabeth Clark, born in 1565 and died in 1645, was accused of witchcraft by John Rivet, a tailor. She was the first victim of Matthew Hopkins. She was an old woman with one leg who confessed after being deprived of sleep and being interrogated. They said Elizabeth forthwith told this informant and one Master Stern, there present, if they would stay and do that said Elizabeth no hurt, she would call one of her white imps and play with it on her lap. But this informant told her that they would not allow it, and they staying there a while longer, then said Elizabeth confessed she had carnal copulation with the devil 6 or 7 years, and he would appear to her 3 or 4 times a week at her bedside and go to bed with her and lie with her half of the night together in the shape of a proper gentleman, with a laced band having the whole proportion of a man, and he would say to her, Bessie, I must lie with thee, and she never did deny him. She was found guilty and hanged as a witch, as had her mother. So, I mean, we did do about Pendle Hill, and again, you know, I do apologise. It seems very similar. That's Matthew Hopkins. So in the early 1640s, Hopkins moved to Manningtree. During that time, residents were becoming increasingly paranoid about witchcraft, so Hopkins set out locally to pursue so-called witches, believing in his ability as a witch finder general. The most prolific spate of witch hunting was carried out between 1644 and 1647, where he is known to have caused the deaths of about 300 women after he had used a cruel method to discover what he called the truth. This involved a suspect's limbs being tied together before being lowered into the water by ropes. He firmly believed if his victims drowned, then they were innocent and now in heaven. And if they floated, then they were guilty and would be tried as a witch. Either way, the result would usually be death. It is suggested that the Red Lion is haunted by the Witchfinder General himself, Matthew Hopkins. It's a bit barbaric, that, isn't it? 300 women. Well, I don't know if all of them were drowned, but that's what he used to I don't know when this drawing were done. I don't know if it were done later or what. Hey, Jules. I don't know if that were done at the time or it's a later one that's been done. I have no idea. Hope we're all well. Has anybody ever been to the Red Lion in Manningtree? I don't even know where Manningtree is, to be fair, myself. Let me have a look. I probably said it. Has anybody ever been there? Yeah, so women would die either way. It's a Colchester postcode. What we need. Right, it's down Ipswich way, Clacton-on-Sea, Colchester, yeah. All that way. Never heard of the place? Just got back in and had a beautiful stew. What was in this local cook? Ooh, that sounds really nice, that, Jules. No, it's the place I'd never heard of before until I started looking into these. But yeah, so Matthew Hopkins. So nobody that's on here at the minute knows of it or has ever been to it. Any stories from it? No, never heard of it. No, that's all of us then. But it's supposed to be, allegedly, one of the 10 most haunted places in the UK. I wonder if you can stay there. Should we have a look? See if we can stay there? Well, not we. I mean, we as in me. No. Book a table, function rooms, contact. No, it's not a hotel. It's just a pub. Oh, well. Subtitles on. On Facebook, I think you press the 3 dots and it says something about closed captions. I'll tell you in a minute. If you press the 3 dots and put closed captions and live captions auto-generated, this is if you're on your phone, and then it should, in theory. Yeah, it does. Press the 3 dots, 3 dots, 3 dots. Press closed captions and press live captions. That turns them on, or turn them off if you want them off, and they're already on. So, well, that were a bit, wasn't it? Because nobody's heard of that one before. Do you know I'm not weird? I wouldn't say does anybody know what this place is, but seeing as it says it on photograph, you all know what it is anyway. So this is the second one. Bit of a giveaway, really, that, isn't it? Oh, overdone now. You had chicken stew last week, War Dog? I don't know where I need to put these, really. Put it around there. I can't see myself. Why don't you? I don't really need to see myself, do I? Anyway, so the Skirrid Inn. Now, there's a bit of I think it's this one. Might not be. Anyway, well, I'll get to it in a bit. So the Skirridin, we've probably all heard of the Skirridin. First mentioned on record in 1110. The historic Skirrid Inn is now over 900 years old and claims to be the oldest pub in Great Britain, and its history includes that of both Welsh and English kings who would have used the ancient mounting stone which still sits in the forecourt to this day. It is alleged to be a place where the Welsh rebel Owain Glyndwr called together his troops in the 14th century and where Judge Jeffreys, the hanging judge, began his illustrious career of execution. There is also a beam in the Skirrid Inn which still bears the rope marks of the hangings carried out in the inn, and there is also the hallmark of a courtroom on the first floor and of a cell where the condemned man may have spent his last night before facing his agonizing death the following morning. Legend has it that the inn was used as a rallying point for local supporters of the Welsh revolt against the rule of Henry IV, the uprising being led by Owain Glyndwr in the early 15th century. He is said to have personally rallied his troops in the cobbled courtyard before raiding nearby settlements sympathetic to the English cause. It is believed that the first floor of the inn was once used as a court of law, and over the period of a great many years, as many as 180 prisoners were adjudged guilty of crimes serious enough to warrant the sentence of death by hanging, a sentence that was carried out at the inn itself, the last case of capital punishment purportedly taking place sometime prior to the death of Oliver Cromwell. It also claims to be the home of several ghosts or spirits, as well as a scene of numerous supernatural occurrences or paranormal activities. Indeed, the reputation of the inn is such that it has merited the attendance of a number of paranormal investigators over the years, who have gone on record in the past to say that it is one of the most paranormally active venues they have ever investigated. There is no readily available documentary evidence to show that Jeffreys ever sat in judgment in the inn. However, during his career, he did deal with cases in the area from Chester to as far south as Montgomeryshire, and within a few years then dealt with cases on the Western Circuit, including the county of Somerset, both territories being within relatively close proximity to Monmouthshire. It is possible that on his travels he may have stopped at the inn or may have even heard isolated cases at the inn if the conditions so dictated. The events for which Geoffrey is most famous are the Bloody Assizes. The term was given to a number of trials held by 5 judges led by Jeffreys, following the rounding up and capture of a large number of rebels involved in an unsuccessful attempt to overthrow James II in 1685. The revolt became known as the Monmouth Rebellion, named so after the leader, the Duke of Monmouth, but had little, if any, connection with the Monmouthshire where the inn is located. Hi, Nanny Lynn. Otherwise known as James Scott, the Duke was given the title, being the illegitimate son of Charles II. Having spent much time in the Netherlands, he landed on the coast of Dorset with a small band of men and rallied together a large group of poorly trained and badly armed supporters as he made his way through Dorset and Somerset. A battle subsequently took place against the King's army at Sedgemoor near Bridgewater in Somerset. The captured rebels, including some sympathisers, were tried at Winchester and other towns in the southwest of England. The majority of those found guilty were transported to Barbados as plantation workers. Of the remainder, some died while awaiting trial, and possibly as many as 200 men were executed in Somerset. Importantly, there would appear to be no record of any trials or execution having occurred at the inn. In the e-book Eerie Britain, under author MB4 points out that the inn's claim of dating back to around the year 1110 is unlikely to be entirely true. Citing work undertaken by the Glamorgan Gwent Archaeological Trust, which stated that the inn is mainly a mid-late 17th century building in construction. However, he offers up the likelihood that a public house stood on the site for many years due to it being situated upon a pilgrim trail that led to Lanthony Priory itself, built in 1108. The Skirrid Inn is definitely an important building and one that does not have a particular pleasant history. So there is a bit of a has it been there since 1100s? That building I don't think has been. There probably has been a pub on that site since the 1100s, or an inn. You've never been to Skirrid? You never fancied it? I don't know. It's one I'd like to do, only because I know it's one. Anyway, this has taken this. I can hear them shouting at kids downstairs. This was taken off the Skirrid Inn website. This bit. Every night, the landlord at the Skirrid Inn puts out the devil's cup on the inn's doorstep, filled with ale to appease the devil or spirits that should come to the door. So far, this nightly ritual has ensured that all guests visiting the ancient pub can do so without care, and so the tradition carries on. Each night, some of the ale that is offered is missing. To be fair, if the fresh it puts it out, there's probably somebody waiting right corner to have a little tipple on it. The Skirrid also has a reputation for being one of the most haunted places in all of Wales. Adjacent to the land where the inn resides is a graveyard, and the era of when it was used as a court would have surely lent itself to the odd execution. Unlike modern-day courts, justice was often swift, and the realities of the sentence were carried out immediately. And it is said that over 180 people were said to have been sentenced to death at the Skirrid Inn by the hanging Judge Jeffreys. But again, there is conflicting information on that. As other people say, it's not. Well, that's Judge Jeffreys, hanging judge. Some of the more common names of the ghosts that preside in the Skirrid are said to be that of John Crowther, a local sheep rustler who was the last man executed for his crimes at the Skirrid, a clergyman, Father Henry Vaughan, and that of a former Skirrid employee, Fanny Price, who died in 1873. Said to be the one of the foremost culprits of the ghoulish goings-on at the Skirrid. She can be heard rustling her dress, and her antiquated perfume is also said to have been detected once her presence is established. The ghost of Judge Jeffreys himself is also said to still darken the doorways of an evening. Has anybody been there? Has anybody been to the Skirrid Inn? War Dog thinks he's been. But he's not sure. Anybody got any stories of the Skirrid Inn? Seen anybody else investigate the Skirrid Inn? Nope. Oh, we're not doing very well today, are we? Rather all very grumpy and not into this. So I've just picked three that nobody knows. Because this last one I've done as well, I've never heard of it before. Joyce has never been to the Skirrid. I think you can actually stay at the Skirrid Inn. I'm sure. Oh, let me turn that one off. Skirrid Inn. Tina's watched others investigate there. Website. Sorry about all the sniffling. Jules has not heard it. Skirrid Inn. Oh, shocking. The legend, the hauntings, address. Sure, you could stay at Skirrid Inn. Just looking. Oh, I don't know. I'll have a look another time because this ain't going well. It just keeps saying where to sleep, and I click on where to sleep, and it takes me back. Don't know. We'll have a look. We'll look into that. It might not be scary. I might be thinking of another one then. Oh, well. Well, I can't believe this. What am I doing here? So the last one today. Does anyone know where this one is? I suppose it gives you a clue with what it says. I'm sure there is. I'm sure I've seen. What have I done here? Oh, that's just wrong. I'm sure, Tina, I'm sure there is 3 rooms. So this one, does anybody know what this one is? I'm not expecting anybody to know, to be honest. It's not going well today. I ain't got my pop-up with me or anything. No idea. This one's in Devon. Oh my God. It's time for me to go back to bed. It's in Devon. It's not in Devil, it's in Devon. It's called Bury Pomeray Castle. Still on the wiser? No, me neither. But this has got quite a long history to it. So let's have a look into it. So, this is from English Heritage site, most of this. I think it was on, I think it has, I know. Send you all the way to do some homework here. I think it has been on Most Haunted. I mean, I've got some other pictures of it. I'll put some more pictures up before we. So, 32, 33, 34. So, that's one picture of it. That's another picture of it. Look, it's not looking right good now. It does look better from front, doesn't it? I'm going to put number 1 back on in a minute. And that's apparently, I don't know where that is, but that's somewhere inside one of them. I do think that's best picture of it. So, Bury Pomeray is unusual among English castles in that its history has only recently been established. Once thought to be of Norman origin, the castle was in fact begun during the latter 15th century by the Pomeray family. Within its defences, the Seymour family built a modest and early Elizabethan mansion, and from about 1600 they extended this on a palatial scale, intending to create a great house to rival Longleat or Audley End. But their overambitious project suddenly foundered for lack of funds, and by 1700 the castle was an abandoned shell. When the Pomeray family began to build Bury Pomeray Castle in the latter 15th century, they had already owned the manor of Bury for over 400 years. It had originally been granted by William the Conqueror to Ralph de Pomeray, a Norman knight from La Pomeray near Falaise, I don't know. There is, however, no record of an earlier fortress here. The Pomerays previously occupied an unfortified manor house by the village church, which was still in full use in 1496. Hey, Jules has heard of Longleat. Archaeology has established that the castle was built on a previously unused site over a mile northeast of the village church within an existing deer park. Exactly when the castle was begun remains uncertain. It first appears in the records when Sir Richard Pomeray died in 1496 as the owner of the Honour Castle and Manor of Bury. The castle's founder may have been Henry Pomeray, who owned Bury Pomeray from 1461 until 1487, or his heir, Sir Richard Pomeray. Its foundation, or perhaps completion, by Sir Richard is made more likely by the fact that broadly similar artillery defences were being constructed at nearby Dartmouth Castle during the 1480s, and by the very late 15th century wall paintings in the castle gatehouse. The Pomerays' motive for building the castle was all but certainly the disturbed state of Devon, then the most lawless area of southern England. Hi, Linda. Ooh, so I didn't realise that either, that Devon was the most lawless area in southern England in the 15th century. Local feuds escalating from 1455 into conflict later known as the War of the Roses involved the Pomerays on the Yorkist side. The strength of Bury Pomeray's up-to-date fortifications leaves no doubt that it was designed for serious defence. Through the outer defences of the late 15th century, Pomeray Fortress remains imposing. The medieval buildings within were swept away during the building of an Elizabethan mansion or courtyard house. In December 1547, Bury Pomeray was bought from the impoverished Sir Thomas Pomeray by the wealthy and powerful Edward Seymour, Duke of Somerset, circa 1500 to 1552. Seymour was the brother of Henry VIII's third and favourite queen, Jane Seymour, and in 1547 became Lord Protector of his 9-year-old nephew, King Edward VI, and thus effectively ruler of England. Hey, Dark Dreams. The Bury Pomeray estate was Somerset's most valuable single acquisition, but it was only one of the many properties he gathered during his rise to power. His reputation as a patron of ambitious mansions once gave rise to the unfounded belief that he also undertook extensive building works at the Bury Pomeray. Yet he never even visited, and certainly his ownership was short-lived. He was executed in January 1552. So when did he buy it? He bought it in 47 and were executed in 52. According to the Seymour family biographer, the first of his honourable family that settled in Devon was the Protector's eldest surviving son by his first marriage, Edward, Lord Seymour, 1529 to 93. The Lord Seymour built the Elizabethan courtyard house. Because there were doubts about his legitimacy, however, the junior branch of the Seymour family, descendants of the Protector by his second wife, enjoyed their principal lands and titles, while the senior Bury Pomeray branch was sidelined. This situation was clearly a constant source of annoyance to the Bury Pomeray Seymours. Their ambitious latter building programme here may indeed have been prompted by the desire to score off the junior branch of the family. Lord Seymour probably began his mansion within the medieval castle walls in the early 1560s, perhaps at the time of his summons to attend Queen Elizabeth I's court in 1562. An east range, infilling the fourth side of the inner courtyard, has been added by the 1590s. Though comparatively modest in size, it was advanced design for the time, compact and very tall, with two complete floors of accommodation above two more containing the halls and services. During the first decade of the 17th century, work began on transforming Lord Seymour's mansion into a very stately home, comparable with the greatest contemporary houses being built elsewhere in England. This was the work of Lord Seymour's son, Edward Seymour II, in around 1563 to around 1613, who inherited Bury Pomeray in 1593. Immense in scale and ambition, the project involved not only the replacement of the old house's north range by a grand staircase and galleries leading to luxurious new rooms in the east range, but also the raising of the stupendous new north wing 3 stories high. It is not clear why Edward Seymour wanted to undertake such extravagant building works on a rather cramped and unsuitable site, nor how he intended to fund them. In any event, building came to an abrupt halt. By June 1611, he was certainly in serious financial trouble, though only a month later he made a last contribution to his family's fragile status by purchasing a baronetcy. Sounds like some type of operation, that. So it was as Sir Edward Seymour, first Baronet of Bury Pomeray, that he died in April 1613, with his great house unfinished, never to be completed. Neither Sir Edward Seymour III, second Baronet, around 1572 to 1659, nor his son Sir Edward IV, 1610 to 88, generally known as Colonel Edward, made any attempt to complete their predecessors' ambitious works. Indeed, an inventory of 1688 shows that the family retreated into an updated version of the Elizabethan mansion. Though both Sir Edwards were enthusiastic royalists during the Civil War, the castle itself was never garrisoned or attacked, but it was only by adroit manoeuvring and the help of the Colonel's beloved and formidable wife, Anne, that Bury Pomeray was kept out of the government hands during the Commonwealth, whereafter Sir Edward's loyalty was highly honoured by Charles II at the Restoration. The old Cavalier dispensed famous hospitality at Bury to all comers and continued in government service well into his 70s. In 1697, John Prince lamented that Bury Pomeray Castle was now demolished and buried in its own ruins, there being nothing standing but a few broken walls. The demolition was deliberately carried out by the new owner, Sir Edward IV, son of Sir Edward Seymour V, 1633 to 1708, known as Speaker Seymour, from his tenure of that parliamentary office in 1673. He had quarrelled bitterly with both his parents as a young man, and his political concerns were in London. Timber beams were removed whole, flagstone floors lifted, lead tiles stripped from the roofs, glass torn from windows, the leading being melted down, and decorated stonework was removed. The castle remained the property of the Seymour baronets, by then permanently settled at Maiden Bradley in Wiltshire, who in 1750 at last succeeded the family to title of Duke of Somerset. It is still owned by the present Duke, a direct descendant of the Berry Pomeray Seymours. Today, the rambling ruins of the once mighty fortress perch eerily on a rocky throne above a wooded ravine, and several ghosts are said to wander inside its crumbling walls. A blue lady haunts the hollow shell of its splendid 16th century mansion house. She is said to be the daughter of the Pomeray family, having become pregnant by her own father, smothered the baby the moment it was born, and is condemned to wander the ruins at night in eternal remorse. But the eeriest part of this castle ruins is located beneath the 15th century Margaret Tower, reached by a twisting stone staircase that spirals down into the dank, dark dungeon, where a feeling of dreadful foreboding emanates from the moss-clad walls. Here, the wicked Eleanor Pomeroy is reputed to have been imprisoned and starved to death. Here, the wicked Eleanor Pomeroy is reputed to have imprisoned and starved to death her sister Margaret, because they both loved the same man and she was jealous of her sibling's beauty. Margaret's misty form appears in the depths of the tower, and many visitors to the Berry Pomeroy Castle have felt the cold chill of her unseen presence as she brushes past them on the dimly lit stairwell that leads to her eternal prison cell. So that's a little bit of history. There is a photograph that I found on the Tinterweb. That's supposed to be a picture of this apparition. What have I done here? That is supposed to be a picture taken of her. I don't know when it was taken. I don't know who took it. It's just while I've been looking, that's one that's come up. What do you think? Is it, isn't it? Have you ever seen this picture before or heard of any of the hauntings of Berry Pomeroy Castle in Devon? Have you ever heard of Berry Pomeroy Castle in Devon before? I agree, Jules, sorry. Jules, sorry. I agree. There is another picture taken from a different angle, and it's a very, very similar picture. I didn't download it. But it's taken, this one's taken from it. This is taken from down that way somewhere. down that way, looking at the door. So it's looking towards her that way. Sorry, Jules. I'm still not well. It does look like a woman. I mean, you can see it's like a head there. Well, you can even see, I suppose, legs under the dress, can't you? And you can see the staircase, I think, through. If you look, you can see stairs behind her. So I presume that's a doorway. I don't know. I couldn't tell you whether that's paranormal, pareidolia. I don't know. I can't even tell you when it was taken. If I shrink it down a little bit, and that's the original size of the picture when it comes up. So, yeah. I don't know. Is it in Tip? Well, that's Bury Pomeray Castle in Devon. Before that, we looked at the Skirrid Mountain Inn in Monmouthshire and Manningtree in Essex. They were the next three that we did. When I get time, the ones that I'm going to be doing next. Whitby Abbey. Well, people have heard of Whitby Abbey, I know that much. Hiya, Sean. Duntulm Castle in the Isle of Skye. And Pluckley in Kent. We may try and fit 4 in because we've done 6. And there's only 4 left. So, depending if I can get more information and do 2 lots of 2, or if not, I'll have to put 4 into the other one because the other one is Blicklin Hall in Norfolk. And that will conclude the 10 haunted places in the UK. We'll then move on to probably Europe or America. We shall see. But I am hoping to be out on investigation tonight. Obviously, it's still on. I can't let me have a look outside. It's not raining at the minute, so we're okay. Yeah, we'll do Whitby Abbey next time first. That'll be first one, Jules. So you'll know about that one. Yeah. So I am going to leave it there for today, guys. I'm going to be on members in a little bit. Lindsay was doing something about Ghosts and Legends of Yorkshire, and I'm going to carry on with that. No worries, Sean. Yeah, I will tell you said hi. I don't know if you can hear one of grandkids crying. She's busy with grandkids downstairs with daughter. So, yeah, so I'm going to be on members. I'm going to go and get another cup of tea. And then I shall be on members. So any of our members that are on, please keep an eye out. And I will be on there for a while. And let's say hopefully, fingers crossed. Not my gammy finger though. Look, that one. That's as straight as I can get that one now. They've took splint off. But it won't straighten up. My finger will be always like that now. I can't. It won't straighten. Look, I can't straighten it anymore. Unless I go like that, then it straightens up, but it just drops. Gammy finger. So, yeah, I'm going to be on members in about 10 minutes, doing a little bit about Ghosts and Legends of Yorkshire. So, have a great day wherever you are. I shall see you all later tonight. I think it'll just be me that's out tonight. It will be a location that I've done before. Probably quite a few times. There is a new location coming up, one that members have already seen. I'm just waiting for Lindsay to be. What with soldier, mate? Not in pain with what? Oh, I'm in constant pain with everything at minute. But it's what it is, what it is, isn't it? You can't just sit here and not do no. So, yeah, guys, take care. I'll see you all in a little bit. I know I've got my new trousers I'm going to put on tonight. I'll model them for you. Fleece-lined combat trousers. It is actually quite sore, but it's because that's what I had to have on it, that plastic splint. But it is actually quite, my fingers, since I took it off, my fingers swelled up because it now won't go on. It's very, very tight, and it wasn't tight, so my fingers actually swelled there. I don't know, but it is quite painful. I couldn't actually move my finger when they first took it off, but they did tell me it'd take a few days for my finger to start moving again, and it has. I can move it now. It won't move it. Apparently, my brain's forgot how to move it because it's been 6 weeks. It's been still for. And there you go. And the skin on it is quite sore because it's been covered, so and it's like not got a lot of feeling in it, but it seems to be more feeling in place. Anyway, don't matter. Whatever. So yeah, members, I'll see you in about 10 minutes. Rest of you have a great day, and I shall see you all later on tonight. Bless be. Take care. Stay safe, guys. Bye.